Hello everyone, welcome back to another build video. This one I labeled hashtag Morrowind DPS because after looking at some of the patch note reviews on things, I'm building these setups based around Architect, the change to magic recovery, and it's a change from reduced cost to magic recovery. So all you bandwagon dark elves are gonna go back to high elf, guaranteed. I call it now. I mean, I guess if you can find a way to sustain as a dark elf or nightblade or sorc, I guess go for it. But I still think you'll be stronger off as a high elf in general. All right, let's get down to business. We got the nightblade here. You see the rotation is normal. This is the normal setup for a nightblade. Maybe with a small variation in a skill setup, but as far as pushing max DPS, this is about where you're at. So we have our light armor passive is going to be changing. The first light armor passive right now has 3 out of 3 for reduced cost. That is just being shifted down 1, and now your recovery is going to have more to it. You have a lot more percentage recovery. So that's why we're going to switch to Moon Dancer 5-piece on the back bar, and depending on you, I don't know, I haven't tested it yet, I can't because they're nerfing Burning Spellweave, but it could still be stronger than Scathing on a sorc. Doubtful though, because Scathing's pretty strong and the extra crit it gives you is going to be nice. Let's go into the part where we are going to drop the Maelstrom Inferno. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, let's get down on some quick math here. If anyone can calculate what will be more powerful, next patch, 1300 damage, 13 base amount of damage to your light attacks or heavy attacks, or the chance to proc a 500 recovery buff or 500 spell damage buff. I would love that calculator because my bank account sorely needs that calculator. Still gonna be using these potions for the spell power. We just hope and pray one day that they fix the inner light bug that takes my spell crit away from me for going to the back bar, even though I have a potion that should be keeping an uptime on it. It's just terrible. On this build video specifically, my nightblade is wearing 5 Moon Dancer on the back bar and 4 Scathing on the front bar. I'll be switching over from this Burning Spellweave staff though to a Inferno willpower staff, solely because it's sharpened, gold, and it's Inferno, and the rotation is going to be based on the Inferno front bar, shock, back bar. You're going to be dropping infal from your healing setups next patch. I guess you could do it this patch if you have the coordination in your end game trial guild where you have multiple people with shock walls and destructive clench. Destructive clench is a pretty big one. I made a PC account solely to test this type of stuff, and for some reason Wall of Elements, even on a charged weapon, was still not proccing minor vulnerability as much as I would like. And when I say I'd like, if one person can keep an uptime of over 50%, then I'd be okay with running it in a trial, knowing 5 people have a lightning staff. But I couldn't keep a minor vulnerability up more than 2%, 3% on a mammoth with 600 or 160 CP, and the mammoth took like 15 minutes to die. I could keep an uptime over like 10% or some shit. And I think there was a point where I just started spamming wall, and that's when it started increasing, which is why Nightblades using a back bar shock staff with destructive clench is going to be powerful, because that ability does proc concussion, which gives the minor vulnerability. Don't know if that's a bug or not, but we're just going to go ahead and go with it. So yeah, there we go. We see a gold Moon Dancer weapon giving us just shy of 500 spell and weapon damage. And you see I have plenty of Maelstrom stamps to choose from, and at this point it's 100%. I will not be using a Maelstrom Inferno next patch, solely because there is no way, man. You're crazy to tell me that a 1300 extra damage to your light attacks is going to be better than this. And next patch, that recovery that it's going to give you is going to scale higher in a trial, where a sorc is going to give you empowered ward buff for the minor intellect. You're going to have a potion uptime, so that's 30% right off the bat of magic recovery increase. So and switching over to Witch Mother's Brew is not a huge DPS loss compared to blue food with a heavy attack. I promise. Okay? Okay. Next setup. I got Scathing, Growthdar, and Moon Dancer jewelry. That's another thing. If you are running even one purple jewelry piece, you're just a small fraction off of the max you can do. But when we're talking about the max you can do here, we're talking about over the course of a very long fight. If everyone is losing that little bit, that's a lot in a 12-man raid. Everyone needs to have gold jewelry. Okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. At this point in end-game raiding, everyone should have their gold jewelry. Everyone should have it, and it's just more magic. The sets themselves are as high as they can be, and that's what we're going for. You'll see here that this is an infused staff. I really wish this game's RNGesus would give me an Inferno, though. It would help with the Alhambris proc on the light attacks when you wear it on a sorc during execute phase. Alright. Yeah, that's my little gripe, though. You see I have an infused Growthdar helm. The rest of my pieces, though, are divines. 64 into magic. All into magic. I'm not even going over CP, because don't know if they're going to change anything there, and that's all speculation at this point anyway. That good old term, they're just messing up CP right now, so we'll see how it ends up. Okay, let's talk about the Nightblade 2. They got that ulti that only costs 70. Now we could go for the warden that has that bear, but apparently the bear is booty and it dies, and even though it can be resummoned, the resummoning costs a lot of time. So just like every other skill in this game, the more times you have to cast something to get its final effect, that effect, whatever that be, if your spectral bow took 15 seconds to proc and did 900,000 damage, you would take 900,000 and divide that by 19, because it took that many times to proc it. Which is why spectral bow in the wrong hands is a very weak ability, and why there's just so many Nightblades that have very low DPS tests. It's a ninja. Like, think of it as a ninja. If you're not ready to be a ninja, don't do the Nightblade. I will be willingly giving up my first lightning staff of architect that I get to the best Nightblade in our guild, because they need that on their back bar. I have Moon Dancer on this solely to show, because they'll have similar effects. I don't actually proc Moon Dancer in this one, but I just put it on there because they got the Minor Slayer, max magic, spell damage stuff. And to show a back bar rotation with Soul Harvest on the back bar and Shooting Star on the front bar. Now you never actually drop a Shooting Star from your front bar, because you'll have Scathing 5 on the front bar and 4 Architect on the front bar. Alright, and we're doing this on purpose. We're taking off that one body piece to keep the 4 Architect on the front bar when we go there, which is very strong. The current setup, I think, is 5 Scathing or Burning Spell with even 4 Moon Dancer, which was very similar to what you're about to see. The only difference is, since trying to farm for Scathing, we're finding that the drop rate of Scathing Destro staffs, not just Inferno but Destro staffs, is right now 0%. So Zos, you need to fix that. It's 0% for everyone that's trying to farm it. As far as I know, there are no Destro staffs. There's a named Resto, but that's a you're gonna get me all worked up on that shit. And anyway, cripple and siphoning attacks, I usually have them on my back bar. Don't do that. I'm gonna put cripple on my front bar and move refreshing path to the back bar. If you find that you can do a rotation with Twisting Path, like all 3 of the Nightblades using Twisting Path and the heals are right on point still, that's great. Switch over here to the damage. So you see I have cripple on my front bar. I switched to a Sharpened Willpower Inferno on my front bar, so again, I don't have 5 Scathing on right now, so but this is to show rotation. The nightblade is going to be different. So I'm using LE drain for a little sustain. I'm the only one here in my house right now. Yeah, so it's going to give me that major breach and the magic minor magic steal. I'm waiting for major magic steal, because if this is a minor, then I'm hoping for a major, but we'll see what we can get. I'd imagine they'll give it to the warden, since they want everyone to buy that anyway. Alright. Let's try. Alright, so you'll see this is the trick to the nightblade. I see a lot of people not doing it. This spectral bow, if you even accidentally re-proc it without bar swapping, animation canceling, because it's a damage ability, you can go ahead and take the time it costs to proc it on your front bar and the time it takes to shoot the bow and divide that by how much damage you did. That's the DPS it gives you. So it's not instant cast. It says it is. It's more of like a second. So you can go ahead and just cut that ability in half, which is why a lot of nightblades are booty, which is why I'm not giving my architect staff to just anyone. I'm giving it to the best nightblade I know. So that's how that's gonna work. I have here simulated with Grothdar. I have the Alambris on my sorc, which I'll cut to in a second, but you see here a consistent uptime with that ulti ability, and it's I think it's going to be close to 90% uptime on Master Architect. So you see that DPS clip was with 4 scathing and a charged on the back bar. It's actually a charged weapon on my back bar is actually testing higher DPS on all my characters than any other staff on my back bar. Just go ahead and read into those status effects. It's reading in this game is nice. Anyway, let's go over here to the sorc cut scene. I do not have bound Aegis on. That is the point. These sorcs now, you're going to be rotating your empowered ward. You're going to be making sure that minor intellect is on the whole group. For redundancy, we're going to have all 3 sorcs with empowered ward. And I say all 3 sorcs because I want all 3 sorcs to have guard on their nightblades. They need to stay close to the nightblade. The effect of that is in proximity. So the whole proximity deal is big. It's key. Guard is going to help console players at least stay close to their nightblades, as well as the incoming damage is supposed to be higher this patch. And depending on how you work your sorc, if you're good at it, if you have that ward up, you should be okay. I think you'll be okay, and the nightblades won't die. The whole point is for the nightblades to not die, because even if a sorc dies, that nightblade can still be pushing out Major Slayer, which is the whole point. Alright, I'm going to show this test with blue food, because currently we don't have sustain issues. So just whatever magic you have, I think you just cut 900 out, maybe 1,000, and that's what it looks like with Witch Mothers, except you'll always have full magic this patch. So that's why no one uses it. It's unnecessary. When we're talking about Morrowind, Witch Mothers is going to be the way to go. Every heavy attack is a loss of DPS, because Force Pulse is very strong and it helps you proc Alambris better. Force Pulse is just very good with causing status effect changes. I should say that again. Force Pulse is very good at causing status effect changes. So this is the rotation with the guard up. this patch. So the things I look for in a sorc DPS rotation, especially these days, I'm not looking at any of this right now. I can tell you that my healer isn't doing this, but imagine this healer behind me giving me you know, it seems harmless, but he's giving me destro staff ability on the target skeleton, which procs enchants. Now imagine if he had 2 destro staff abilities, or 2 destro staffs, both of them had that destro staff ability on it. You can proc crusher, you can proc poisons, you can do a whole bunch of different things to this target skeleton. And even if you see that I'm in a group like this, I hate this DPS target, and I hate imagining what a sorc DPS would look like if I had 3 people in here hiding and sneak, buffing me by poisons, buffing me with crusher enchants, infused. Someone could be wearing Torug's pact and keep it up 100%. Yeah, no. DPS numbers, pointless. Watching rotation though, that's what we're looking for. So on this parse, you see, I think the only actual difference I changed for the DPS number that I was getting is just execute timing. I've been healing a lot lately, but I'll show you this patch. This is the DPS number. Yeah, these DPS parses, that's homestead. Again, that was a 32.8k DPS test. And homestead, no sharpened weapons, saying here. I just wanted to show that, like, this isn't even over penetrating like people are doing now with sharpened weapons. Guaranteed, if you're using sharpened weapons and your tank has alkosh and a crusher enchantment and hits synergies and punctures the boss, you're over penetrating as a magic build. So don't over penetrate. Don't do that. It's not necessary. Every point over penetration is a waste, and you can get much better things out of precise. I'm gonna say that even in homestead, precise is still going to be better because you're not over penetrating and it's higher crit. So imagine for 1 second that you are magsorc with scathing mage and moon dancer. With a precise weapon and all divine's gear, you're gonna have close to 75% crit again. That is going to be very strong when you buff that with major slayer, warhorn, and who knows what other weird things they might come out with that'll boost your damage. And you know, keeping guard up, that's a higher uptime than the trap beast is. 100% uptime on its percentage boost. We're going for percentages, so that's, and crit percent, so that's gonna be huge. And they're front loading the crap out of all the CP next patch. So I think magsorc, I think Alcast said there's gonna be some 40k magsorcs. Yeah, I see a actual damage increase, because we're talking about patching the gap between balloon food and witch mothers with guard, with major slayer, with high uptimes on everything. Hopefully they fix restoring aura, and you know, I don't know if it's broken or not, but someone said it might be broken. The magic minor magic steel is broken. If you could reply to this comment and say how it's not broken and prove it, it'd be great. I'd love to tell some of these people in this guild that it's not broken, but they insist it is. So that's why we use Ellie drain sometimes, just to make people happy. Don't over penetrate. Sorcs, I mean, I'm dropping shooting star, but that's just helping with the burning spell weave proc. Next patch, sorcs might actually end up going back to scathing and a moon dancer. And that DPS parse I had, that was another one that was really to show what it would look like to pop orbs with this rotation. Everyone in trials pops orbs as it is. You just need to do it at the right time to get your moon dancer proc. You got 30 seconds to find your perfect bar swap animation cancel on your synergy. So do it. Find it. And if it comes a little bit early, you know, take a step with it. And just make sure you're haunting, then bar swap your haunting curse. That's all I can say about that. But I foresee maybe 2k magic recovery being the meta for next patch, somewhere around there. if you're gonna take away all reduction in cost by, what was it, like, we're taking out our warlord, arcanist, and you're gonna need magic recovery. Magic recovery, magic recovery, magic recovery. Don't do the whole spell damage, reduce cost stuff. Don't do it. Don't do it.